Welcome back. This is KTN Prime, and we are now on the discussion where we're talking about fallouts and fallbacks, emerging realignments shaping the political landscape. And with me in studio is a panel here made up of Dr. Peter Mbae, a leadership and governance expert and DCP Party economic advisor, who's very close to me here. And of course, also we have Dr. Maxwell Miyawa, a scholar and constitutional lawyer, right there in the middle. And we have Bosco Courier, who is a political analyst to my far right. Gentlemen, I want us first to take a look at the Standard newspaper, tomorrow's Standard newspaper, the front page. They're reading dreaded chiefs back, and of course this story talking about President Ruto has resurrected the long-feared imperial chief, arming administrators, handing them fresh battalions of officers and restoring a command structure of Kenyans, a thought that the Kenyans thought were abolished years ago. Gentlemen, what do you make of this headline and this particular development around the dreaded chiefs being back? I'll just begin with you, Dr. I'll begin with you, Dr. Peter Mbae, on my very close right. Tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are regarding that story on the front page.
From the word go, thank you so much for having me. From the word go, we talk about systems and structures. Let everything be done in a systematic way. But the problem that happens is that we bring in politics. That's why you see from this headline, there are some fears. Why should you allow fears? If for sure you are empowering chiefs. The idea of empowering chiefs is very noble. If you look at it from a leadership and governance perspective purely, in terms of the structure of helping people at the grassroots. People who come from the grassroots, they understand the value and what chiefs do at the grassroots. I want to go further. The village elders. For the last 15 years, if I remember, there has been a talk of empowering the village elders. These are people who actually present assistant chiefs when they are not there. They attend all the barrios, they attend all the functions on behalf of the chief, and they have very good excuses for the chief, or rather, to say why the chief is not around. The chief was called by the DC. These people ought to have been given some stipend many years ago. And I want to say that because I've worked with them many years before. Now, they were supposed to be given 10,000 monthly. So now it has come down to 3. Now we are talking about village elders, right? Now, so where should the focus be? We don't mind being used for anything because we know whatever they are going to be used for, can we first of all empower our civil service? Because these are human beings, they are fathers, they are mothers, and they are people with responsibilities. Getting elders to do work for free is not right, but it was supposed to be 10,000, it has come to 3. Why? Now, then, being taken to next year. Now, the issue of chiefs, let them be empowered, but all what I'm saying, if anybody thinks they will use the machinery, civil service, to campaign for them, it will be so sad. Actually, I can tell you this. This empowerment should be distinguished completely from anything political. And the first person to do that will be the chiefs themselves. They are going to get knowing that, please chiefs, whatever you are going to receive, know that it is your right. You are supposed to be empowered by the civil service in this country. Nobody should be able to use that to try to sway you, to try to support government machinery in 2027. That's my take for now.
Well, Dr. Maxwell, what do you think about Dr. Mbae's thoughts on this, that perhaps this is a step towards rallying up machinery from the grassroots?
I want to take a far more, a greater departure from such sentiments on 3 fundamental grounds. One of which, of course, is to how we, conceptualize public administration. So the first thing that really the public has to understand is that public administration has got quite a number of dimensions. There is the security aspect of public administration. There is the environmental aspect of public administration, the agriculture aspect of public administration, the public health of public administration, the agricultural, and many others, including the police power of the state aspect of public administration. Now, that is the first aspect from which we have to understand public administration. So that if there is any empowerment on any aspect of civil service, really, one should not read in between the lines and even import ideas of what the real intention is. So I do not want to speculate either for or against the government, but I think that is how the first aspect which I look at it. The second aspect from which I look at it is that the securitization of public administration can at times become noble, can at times become a progressive idea, particularly in light of challenges that the society may face. In this country for quite a long time, we have dealt with problems of, illicit brews, narcotics, a great deal of gang involvement, in the villages. Actually, in the village where I come from, it's called Waswa village at one point or another, not quite far, I think 2 or 3 months ago. During a funeral, youths and gangs just came to a funeral and attacked everyone during a night vigil. And that tells you that we probably need to tighten up certain aspects of our public administration. And as I've said, tightening aspects of public administration may include securitization of public administration, of which chiefs, village elders are part, including police administrations. So let us not look at it from an over-romanticized, perspective. But I think there could probably be a great deal of more progressive ideas, something that benefits and helps Kenyans, that this new transformation is intended. I've just seen the news highlights now. I've not read the particular details, but that's how I would interpret it. Let us stop the over-romanticization of every noble idea. But I do understand where, I do know where these perspectives are coming from. Most Kenyans who grew up in the remote parts of Kenya knew the culture of public administration those days. I do not think particularly that those aspects of public administration of the foregone years can rear their ugly head back into public administration at this particular point in time. Yes.
Well, Bosco, if you listen to what Dr. Mbai here is saying and Dr. Maxwell, of course, divergent views. Dr. Mbai here says it's really an act of trying to use a machinery from the grassroots to promote the agenda of the broad-based government, perhaps. And Dr. Maxwell here says no. It's about tightening the security to make sure everything runs smoothly, perhaps in the next election. But what are your views, Bosco?
Thank you very much, Leah, for this invitation. And first, I would like you allow me to congratulate the new members of parliament who have this afternoon been sworn in to undertake their duties from the by-election. Secondly, as I answer your question, I would like to bring a different perspective altogether. Leah, I want to tell you, someone may ignore the role of a chief until you lose a loved one, and then you require someone to do for you a letter of administration or to do succession. That's the day you know the importance of a chief. You equally know the importance of a chief if you lose your ID today, and it's untraceable, and the only place you can start is from that chief. What am I saying? Our chiefs have been very instrumental in our structures since independence. And in fact, after the 2010 Constitution introduced a different system of county governments, of ward administrators, village administrators. But did they work? And why were they not able to work? So what I'm saying is our chiefs have been very important to this country. We have seen the kind of work they have done. The chiefs are the ones who help in the intelligence and security of our country, because they are there in the village with the people. If peace building, when villagers fight, they always run to the chief. When someone steals the other person's chicken, or someone is disturbing people in the village, it's always the chief who will not necessarily call them out, but will tell the OCS or the OCPD that there's someone who is a robber. If chiefs are not important, let us know how the vetting process of bursaries is done. The church and even any organization that want to give bursaries and donations, they'll go to the chief and ask, do you know this guy? Do you know the mother? Do you know the parents? Do you know the history? That's the importance of our chief. Our chiefs have been used in implementation of government policies, government projects. Think of any project that the government is implementing. You'll always hear, let us go to the chiefs. The chiefs can do this very well. So the welfare, when the welfare of the chiefs is being looked into, let us not joke about that. The welfare of village elders has been neglected over the years. So whether they are being given 1,000, 10,000, at least let's thank whoever is giving them anything, you know. So as village elder, who is expected to go for a baraza or to see the chief 10 kilometers or 3 kilometers from where he lives, he always uses his money. But now here, there's a government which is considering them for a stipend. I mean, let's give credit where it's due. Even if we don't like the agenda or anything about the government, some of these projects are really, they are touching their lives, giving them a livelihood, saying thank you. The government is saying thank you to these people. You know, when someone dies in a river somewhere and the community is there looking at that person, and then there's the village elder who says, I think I know this guy, and I know the chief. Let me call the chief. Let me call, you know, that's the importance of these people in our society. So lastly, as you ask that question, the chiefs and the sub-chiefs, they undergo paramilitary trainings. And that's the important, that's how they get the skill to be able to combat theft, illicit brews, as you're saying. These are the menace. Illicit brews has been a big problem in this country because it's causing mental health to our young people. So these are the people, even when you talk about mental health, they are the people the youths run to and say, Chief, we have organizing this and that. So I think their role is fundamentally critical to our society.
That's where we go wrong. We should thank the government for giving village elders tokenism. This is where we go wrong in this country. We must allow systems to work. I just said for 15 years, we have been, everybody, there has been motions in the National Assembly. Nobody wants MPs. They fear, I don't know why they fear empowering village elders. But why should it look like a favor? People, we pay taxes. I have been on record saying they should be given something which should be in law, not tokenism. That's where we go wrong. We have a president moving around like an imperial president, dishing out, oh, if you talk to me nicely, I'll give you a road. Oh, I've heard you cry, I'll give you a market. No budget, no nothing. We cannot run a country like this. We must be serious. We cannot be talking about Singapore here and we are running like a village. It's not possible. So please, stop this. Oh, we should be thanked because we have been given 3,000. Come on. They should be given 10,000, which is in law, which should be in the budget, in treasury. That's why we pay taxes. Let's be serious. This issue of imperialism here, that you have to worship someone, oh, you go, children, you know, they go sing, you know, we dish out something from the pocket like this. No. Long live, we miss Kebak every day.
Leah, those are emotions speaking.
A man of systems.
These are emotions
but
speaking. That's why the president said it will be done next year. Maybe because of budgeting.
You know, we have been here. This is the fourth year. This is the fourth year. You can't say you went campaigning and look there. That's why I fell out because we can't run like this. You go promise something. The first year you should plan. You can't wait for the fourth year to give in some promises of the next year during the campaign year. It is not right.
We'll come back to this question, especially on whether we can actually rely on the chiefs, considering what we witnessed in last week's by-elections. There were allegations of voter bribery, there were allegations of rigging, and blame was squarely placed on security. We saw hooligans taking over voters being able to go into the tallying center, not the tallying center, but the polling station, such as in Mbeere North constituency. Then now we bring in chiefs. What does that tell us? Can we trust the chiefs if they were brought back to help govern elections in the 2027 general election? What do you think, Dr. Maxwell?
I personally do not think that there will be any anything positive that will be served by using chiefs and local administration in the electoral process. I think that would be a misstep if at all the government is planning to do that. And if anything, it's unlawful also to involve police, except in certain cases where they are providing security in polling station during the electoral process. In my view, I think, you know, really, in this country, anytime the government takes a progressive measure or a transformational measure, people will always read it differently. And I think it is a positive thing. Perhaps it's part of checks and balances, bringing the culture of accountability. But why must we critique, you know, always anything that is so radical and transforms society and transforms our governance? We want to look at it from a political perspective. There should be a time when we should be able to divorce politics from certain aspects of governance. This is a transformational measure, a positive step taken by the government to transform security at the local level. And by the way, at the end of the day, who will it benefit? It will only benefit the people of Kenya. It will not benefit politicians in any other way.
But how will it benefit the people of Kenya?
Now, when there are far-reaching transformational measures, and even if we were to avoid the chief aspects of it, and I think this security conference had to go to a great deal to do with much more that resulted from the countrywide visit that the Ministry of Interior had conducted. And it is not only transformation at the chief's level, it is across the broader security sector. Why are we only picking one aspect of it? Okay? In my view, I think, if chiefs can be involved, and as I've said, the public administration has got several aspects. When people are cutting down trees there, that is aspect of public administration. So if a chief is empowered, is given a bicycle or a motorcycle to run around and see who is abusing the forest, who is polluting the rivers, that is an environmental aspect of it, who is brewing changa, who is involved in cattle rustling, why should that be a problem? I think we really have to divorce politics from all these other aspects. I know it's election time and people may have to look at these things from a political lens. But let us also look at this transformation from a progressive lens. That is how you can transform a society. That is how you, and for your information, these are measures that have just been proposed. We have not really seen anything working on the grounds yet. Let us wait for that time when the pot is already cooking. Okay? So if the broth is bad, you can say it tastes bad. But you cannot critique it right from the beginning when there is indeed positive measure the government is taking to transform wider security aspects, of our governance.
I think perhaps some of those sentiments are coming from the backdrop of last week's events, where we saw a security situation that threatened the peace of most of those constituencies that were having by-elections. But I just want us to move on.
Let me just clarify one thing. I think there could have been security breaches, there could have been a great deal of widespread of violence during the by-elections. But if you witnessed very, very carefully, it was across the board, which is something that is also worrying. Because remember, the various aspects of breaches and violence was from both sides of the political divide. It was not only from one aspect, one political party or another. And which, of course, raises the real question, and I think Orengo raised it, that 15 years after the new constitution, we're still bringing this culture of mayhem, hooliganism, into our, universal suffrage. What exactly is going to happen in 2027? I think that is a different and a valid question that we can raise. Why is the culture of violence creeping back into our politics? And it is from both aspects of the political divide. Why is tokenism creeping back into our politics? Bribery of voters. Why is a lot of money being used into our politics? I think those are valid, very, very, very valid questions that we need to ask as we go into 2027. But they are completely different and divorced from the security aspects of public administration.
So that we don't lose that layer, very simple. Chiefs are the most consequential people at the grassroots, including Nyumba Kumi, including elders. They should have gotten their right long time ago when this government came in the first year. So if it's coming now, it's okay. But please know it is your right. Let nobody tell you, because I gave you 3,000, now go and manipulate votes on my behalf. That's what I'm saying, and I can tell you, chiefs are very wise. They are the best of the best, picked from the people. They are the BOM people. They go to church, they are elders in their churches, they know what to do. They will not be swayed by anything trying to manipulate them to cause some changes in their mind and the people towards 27. That's what we can say. Let's be professional. Let us put together chiefs and their work. Let's continue doing other politics aside. The president said he will not use any apparatus of government for politics. He said it. Kenyans are going to judge him on that. So we are stuck on that. We don't want to impute anything on them because these are our brothers, our sisters, and our family members. So let them know. And I can tell you, the chiefs seated there, all over in the country, they know that this is politics. Let us get our right. But in the next government, they are seated here. We are going to have institutional legal. We are not going to give chiefs tokens. We'll give them something legal in parliament. We'll pass a bill. It has been lying in parliament for 10, 15 years. I don't know why they fear passing it, right? We empower Nyumba Kumi, we empower village elders, we empower chiefs properly. Whether you are going to be re-elected or not, do your work as president without thinking that you're tying something to that kind of thing.
Let's take a look at the recent developments in the political landscape here in Kenya. Senate Speaker Emerson Kingi has announced the removal of Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale as Senate Majority Chief Whip, following indeed a resolution by the ruling United Democratic Alliance Party. I want to begin with you, Bosco.
Yes.
Your thoughts on this new development?
Thank you very much. If I can remind you of Kajwang in ODM, the late Kajwang, Honorable Kajwang. Kajwang used to say, fidelity to the party and loyalty to the party is fundamental to our democracy. And they used to say, more or less like saying, you should respect the party that took you to parliament. And some people, during this by-election, some people have been saying, oh, let them even try my own constituency. We have had like in Manyata constituency, Mukonji saying he would even resign. I think these people, both in both camps, be it in the UDA or pro-government or broad-based and the united opposition, you see heads rolling because some people went voting or campaigning for their candidates on their opposite sides. So there's nothing new that is happening. Kalwale, according to the broad-based government or UDA, he had become uncontainable and he did not support the candidate he was expected to support during the by-election, and maybe that's why he has been disciplined. Let me say, and I think most of them will be disciplined, and it includes even removing them from the political parties, because that's what political parties do. It may not be right sometimes in the eyes of the people, but politics is what it is. So what happens in politics is if a political party took you to parliament, you are expected to be loyal to the party. You could criticize the government, but according to the law, and he will tell you, Dr. will tell you, that by only associating with another political party, you automatically removes yourself from being a member of that party. That's the law. So all the members who are involved in the by-elections and they were campaigning for the opposite or for the rivals or their competitors, they are likely to be disciplined in the parliament. So even UDA, even ODM, even OIPA, you might see a lot of this happening.
Dr. Maxwell, looking at the legal procedure that informed this particular decision, help us understand what actually happens to the point that a member of parliament or even someone leading in a political position can be removed from that position legally. In this case, Halale's position. Tell us legally what informed this particular decision and the legal implications around it.
I think this is not the first time that this has happened to a political leader. I think the first time it happened to Moses Wetangula when the NASA coalition, of course, headed by Raila Odinga at that particular time, made a communication to the minister that the decision has been made that the majority leader in the Senate has been changed and a new one has been appointed. And I think it is happening for the second time. Really, the discretion of the decision on who becomes a majority or a minority leader in the Senate or in the National Assembly is really a political party decision. So I think once the political party has made that decision, the Speaker has no other decision, because this is not a position that is voted for. It's a position that a party fronts a particular leader. So there shouldn't be any legal implications. But I think there are political implications, or rather you can call them political legal implications. The political legal implications is that a leader from a particular area or region has been dropped and replaced by another. But I think, as Bosco says, you have to look at the underlying justifications for this. People really have to understand the nature of political parties. Political parties exist primarily to capture power. Once that power has been captured, that power has to be retained. Once that power has been retained, that power has to be exercised. And the exercise of power happens at various levels. It happens at the legislative level, it happens at the executive level, and in certain cases, it happens in other aspects, including political, perhaps at the judiciary level. Because there has to be some sort of political control naturally. I mean, really, it happens in the US, where the president wants to control the judiciary by certain appointments. So that the question of loyalty, fidelity, and all those other words that Kajwang used, those are real political words that apply practically when it comes to the exercise of political power. Because you will not exercise, you will not be able to exercise political power, retain political power, and by having political power, that is how you can distribute national freebies, appointments, allocate resources, and so forth. If there is no discipline in the political party, you're going to have chaos in parliament. So the decision of a party deciding who becomes a leader, who becomes a a committee member, really lies in the political party. Because political parties are the ones who will galvanize voters around the country. They take over the instruments of power. They exercise that power. But when there is indiscipline in the party, how would that be able to happen? So I think politically the decision that the UDA has taken, Kenya Kwanza has taken, is justified. It may not be rational, but it is justified because power has to be retained, power has to be exercised going forward. When there is disloyalty in the party, this also goes back to the very, very culture of mayhem and hooliganism that we have witnessed before. We are having individuals who can actually go an extra mile and challenge his own political party that sponsored him in parliament and takes and supports another political party and still expect to sit in that government position or in that position where he will front the agenda of political parties. Really, it's not practically possible.
And what does this speak about ODM in its current state? Of course, there has been speculation of a split. And like you're talking now about indiscipline amongst party members, of course, just a show of defiance. What do you make of what is happening right now? Halale's case, perhaps speaking of belief in the party that he belongs to, that's ODM, but not perhaps faith, maybe, in the broad-based government. What do you think, Dr. Mbai?
This is what I think. I think, first, Harare is a very smart politician. He made a decision a long time ago. And he moved physically to associate with a team that he thinks is the future of this country, the future of Western, and the future of this country. Because the thinking of Harare is that, yeah, I'm in UDA, but the ground for UDA in Western has shifted, and all rather the broad-based arrangement of UDA and ODM. Remember that in Western, we have about, I think out of 11, almost 10 seats by ODM. But I can tell you, the shift is real from broad-based to the opposition. Now, look at what happened. The government had to do everything to steal robbery with violence, everything else about Marava, Bere, North, and Magarini. You know, there's a difference between stealing and robbery with violence. So this was robbery with violence, where you not only do bribing, you take, the lawyers dealing with these cases, they are investigating. Issues are literally going and buying IDs at 10,000, bribing voters with 5,000 per vote. Other people coming to vote from outside to vote. That is robbery with violence. And finally, where a minister literally, after finding that a team in Bere was leading with 1,000 votes around 7, literally now, everything else went flat. He had to go there, brandishing, gunshots. Literally took off. You remember when we were young, we used to do football, And when one young boy couldn't get the ball for a long time, he would get disgusted. He would run into the field, pick the ball, and run away with it outside the field. This minister comes, literally runs away with a ballot box that is not counted. They go count and say, Kalish got 100 votes and the 400 votes for Mudende. Now, what I'm saying is this. But when you go to Kisa East, in Quisero, the same Kakamega, DCP wins. So what that tells you, because they were interested with, bravado for the parliamentary seats. If you look at the seats that were won in Narok, in Mumbuni, in Kariobangi, and all other places, if you look at the rating of the MC, if you want to know where the people are, they are the MC's position. And you remember, the government didn't interfere. Kariobangi North, UDA candidate was number 4. Ask yourself, if UDA candidate can be number 4 in Kariobangi, who tells you UDA can go in Bere and Marava and Magarini? Of course, there was interference. But what is the point is, Harwari has nothing to lose. He has made a decision out there forego this honey for 1 year, but I be rather with the people and God, the side of God and the side of the people. I can tell you seated here. This kind of hooliganism that we have seen has emboldened the people of Kenya. I'm happy because people are able to see. There is the people who are saying, this thing was stolen. But the question is coming, what will happen in the future? And we are saying very quickly, one, we were testing the systems, what government can do, now we know. Now we are very sure what they can do. It's 2 years to the elections. Number 2, what IBC can do. IBC has so many questions to ask, including whether the opponent for Bere North was Leonard Njeru or was Leo Wamudende. Because according to the register, it is Leonard Njeru. But the person who appeared is Leo Mudende. Those are the issues we want IBC to relax and answer with no hurry, at their own pressure. The DP party leader, Justin Muturi, is leading a very big team of 15 lawyers to court slowly. They did it in a hurry. Whatever is done in darkness will come out openly. So we are telling Kenyans, let us test our systems. IBC just came in, right? This is their first by-election. Let us see what they can do so that we ask ourselves as Kenyans, is this the body we are trusting? The questions are going to be asked in court. It's going to be public. In the media, we are going to ask those questions. But number two, politically, we have known today what this government is capable of doing. We have calls. I mean, the Wiper party leader saying that the president literally called in Bere to say that we must win the election. We saw what the government can be able to do. All this kind of money. How do you spend that kind of money in one constituency? Whether they are going to do 400 million times 290 in 27, those are the issues Kenyans are asking. But I will tell you this one thing as I finish. You will not be able to go against the will of the people and the will of God in 2027. That one, I can assure you, it is a basic. Actually, these acts are just embodying the people and saying, okay, we can see what you try to do here, but we are waiting for you at the end there. We must distinguish, we must allow IBC to act. Unfortunately, we give IBC some benefit of doubt. And we told them, we don't want to interfere. The moment you pick the Bible there, you cease being a tribesman. You cease being even the person who recommended you. You go with the Constitution of Kenya and the people of Kenya to safeguard them. Those are the things we are testing now. We are waiting to see the results. The people are going to court. We see what's going to happen. But for us as DCP, we thank God for the seats we got. Only 6 months old. We fielded 5 positions. We got 3. We were close number 2 in Polko Ward, where we were number 2, and Magarini. We are moving on well.
I need to hear from Bosco. Listening to the sentiments from Bere North, hotly contested constituency, and of course highlighting the issues of the fallouts we are seeing now, the fallbacks. The question that begs at this moment is, what should we expect in terms of more purgings? We've seen Boni Halwale today being removed from his position as the majority chief whip, and then now we are also talking about what I think Dr. Mbai is talking about, possibility being more action being taken against some other political leaders who are not singing to the tune of the broad-based government. Do we expect more leaders being removed from their positions? And who do you think is next?
Thank you very much for that question. And what I would say is very simple, that they just concluded by-elections. We saw the broad-based government win around 13 ward level seats at the ward level, or rather ward representatives. That shows the level of support maybe the president and the broad-based government is getting at the ward level, the grassroots level. So whether it's Bere North or Magarini or Malawa that the government won or didn't win, it's a matter of wait and see. But the thing that I would like to say is the outcome of these by-elections is a proper reflection of what is likely to happen in 2027. Whether there was violence or coming from the opposition. By the way, violence is violence. Whether it's coming from the opposition or from the government side, it should be condemned by all means possible. Whether the violence is coming from someone in Western or who is attacking Panyako, or former AG slapping a voter, that's violence. Violence is violence. So, but to say, to answer what you have asked, we expect more people to be injected, more, so to speak, because we have seen a lot of bad manners from our leaders, from both sides. But to speak about what you have seen in Bere North, for example, how did people expect? CS Roko started campaigning 7 months ago when he was appointed. People came there 3 months ago. And when they come, they are campaigning not using locals, using foreigners. And these foreigners, for example, let's say Gachagua, instead of campaigning for the candidate Karish, he's campaigning for himself, door to door. Lying, for example, people like Roko, he has a grandmother. Roko's mother died many years ago and she was at an advanced age. How can she even have, and talking about Mudende, that it's not a registered voter. a whole presidential, someone who is saying to be a presidential candidate, going to that level, abusive language, abusing the local leaders. And when you look at what happened, the Mudende side, for example, was being campaigned by the locals. I want to explain to you about the Mbere politics. I'm not surprised with what they are complaining about, the margin of votes. In the history of Mbere North since 1988, no one has ever won politics, that position, with over 3,000 votes, more than 3,000 votes. In the likes of Silas Ita and Akamwithi Munyi, the famous, they used to have a difference of 230 votes. So I want to tell Dr. Mbaye, politics is politics. Politics is not a choir. It's not gospel. It's not a church. Politics is war, and you use your best weapon to dismantle your opponent. So we had Gachagua saying he's going to Mbere to close the kiosks. Apparently, he went to open his own small kiosk. So now, about vote of bribery, he later said he cannot be able to continue stopping that kiosk. I mean, why are you telling people to take bribes? And when they take the bribes, maybe, for example, and because they have a problem, Mbere is a very dry and people who have problems, then you encourage people to take bribes, as you are saying. And when they take bribes, maybe be it projects, be it money, be it roads, or whatever they are getting, or the mogoka, the water they are being brought, they end up voting the people they believe. They are giving them projects. That story, it seems like a story of a father, of a child from a parent, who are, one parent is saying, Daddy, I want a shoe. I want a pen. He said, no, don't worry. One parent says, I will bring you tomorrow. The other parent brings the shoe. Immediately is asked. So what we have seen is these people have come to campaign for only 3 weeks. Rukwa has been there since he was appointed, campaigning for his candidate. And when they come, even the candidate himself, Karish, instead of talking about the issues that he will do for the people, even when he was in some station the other day, he was asked, how come your own home has electricity and the other people in your village do not have? Instead of even at least being creative and saying, I'm trying to follow up with the government, he is telling blatantly, that's not my business. My business was just to bring the transformer there. It is their business to take the electricity to their houses. The level of arrogance now, that one would not help the people. So what I'm saying is, I think from the by-election, we can read that, and even the other positions that I've said, the 13 ward representative positions, what the people are interested in are issue-based politics. It's not about stories. We are talking to people, for example, in Mbere, people who have been struggling with the water shortage. The 7 Forks comes from Mbere. Those people have never seen water. And the ladies who go to fetch water, they are being eaten by crocodiles.
I want to hear from Dr. Maxwell.
One more thing, one last thing about ladies. I wanted to mention about you people. Ladies, in this by-election, there has been no candidate who has won an election in this by-election. What does it say? It's because of the bad manners that our leaders are having of violence. Maybe that's one of the things that is chasing people away. And the young people and ladies should be given equal opportunity. We have a problem of affirmative action in our parliament. So,
Dr. Maxwell,
so those are one of the things.
The issue of democracy and intimidation, would you connect this particular issue with, for instance, the removal of Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale from his position as the majority chief whip in the Senate?
I think the broader conversation, which also links to that question that we are having here, the two gentlemen are having here, is really, and I want to take a regional comparative lens, Kenya, Uganda, and that beautiful country, Tanzania, where the Maasai the Maasai land commences all the way from Laikipia all the way to Namanga, Arusha, and Mushi. Really, we have to analyze our political cultures. Put Kenya on the one side, Tanzania in the middle, and Uganda on the other side, and look at our culture of political pluralism. Talking about violence and the nature of our democracy, take Kenya on this side, these 3 countries. How would you rank these countries? I think Kenya would rank exceedingly high. Because in Kenya, our level of political pluralism has extremely matured compared to these countries. In fact, if you look at Uganda, Uganda is not a country where you can even talk of something that resembles even a camouflage of democracy. There's no democracy there. Even the opposition leader cannot campaign. You cannot say the same in Kenya. If you look at the kind of militarization of the electoral process, the over-securitization of the electoral process that happens in Uganda, talking about police intimidation, the military intimidation. An opposition leader can actually be arrested on the day of voting, put in prison for more than 2 months, and the whole world keeps quiet. Such a thing cannot happen here in Kenya. So I'm saying that our political culture has really matured and greatly advanced, so that these people who are talking about, what happens in the village here and there, really, let us look at it from the perspective of political culture. Talking about the results of the by-election, and that is being actioned now by the various political formations, because post the by-elections, the political formations have got to re-engineer themselves, because we have less than 2 years to the next election. So political re-engineering is really a common thing that would happen anywhere else. If you're to the Labour Party and there's a disloyal member of parliament, he would be removed from committee, he would be de-whipped, he would actually even be chased away from the political party. He may be denied even a nomination, even if he wins a clean sweep and a clean win. Because as long as you do not speak the political voice, and this is why anytime anybody talks about political ideology or political party, really that is a misnomer, it's a misstatement. Political parties, much as they are driven by political ideologies, but the pragmatics of politics dictates otherwise. That's why in most cases, even in the leading Western democracies, what a party can achieve is greatly limited by the corporate interests that capture those political formations. So that even the greater transformation that somebody may speak of, or in a political podium, is completely different when they take office. Once they take office, they are captured. It can either be state capture, corporate capture. Now, it is justified for a political party to de-whip a disloyal member of parliament, because politics is not child play. Politics has got particular interests. Okay, there must first of all be discipline within the party. The party moves as one, captures political power, then exercises that political power. And the exercise of political power is really distribution of public resources. Who gets allocated where and what. Now, coming back to the other thing that he was talking about, again, the outcome of these elections and so forth. And again, this goes to the very nature of our political democracy. Our level of pluralism, particularly in a by-election, the interests usually are completely different. In fact, in a by-election, the interest shifts more fundamentally. And in most cases, it's clan interests. Okay? It can be the interest of perhaps also the community or the voters deciding to go with maybe a person who belongs, who maybe most likely look more and more like them. A by-election really has got really nothing to do with, in most cases, I'm talking about in a majority of cases, it has got nothing to do with a political party. It can have something to do with a political party when that political party may be so strong, maybe the way may be so strong. But I think it is not right for one to say that there was massive rigging all over the country, the security forces were deployed, because really what we witnessed was not something that was instigated only by the government. There was chaos from both sides of the political divide.
Before I move away from you, Dr. Maxwell, there's definitely speculation that more leaders might be facing impeachment. Of course, some of the names that there has been a lot of speculation is Edwin Sifuna, the Deputy Minority Whip in the Senate, and of course, Anthony Kibagendi, Caleb Amisi, and many others. Do you think this is likely to happen? More impeachments?
I think the way these different political entities decide to run their politics in the next 2 years that are remaining will be dictated by political necessity. Political necessity is this, that these political formations, they have to survive. And the very nature of our Kenyan politics to this very day is that there must be always coalition arrangements. Those coalition arrangements may be ethnic coalition arrangements, they may be political arrangement based on identity, distinct identity of political parties. That's why already you can hear a conversation that, Nairobi is going to be reserved for a particular community. And that community is probably not Wiper. These are political realities, necessitated by, different factors. So I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if ODM takes particular measures against particular individuals, because ODM as a political party, UDA as a political party is interested in the sustainability their viability now and into 2027. So that if anybody railroads their way, anybody stands on their way, really that person, I don't think will be able to survive.
Dr. Mbai, the kind of party disciplining, Dr. Maxwell said the action that has been taken against Halwale is an action to show that anyone who's indisciplined within a party, action shall be taken. But I asked Dr. Maxwell the question. I don't know if he did really answer me, but I'll ask you that question. The issue of democracy and intimidation, do you think some of this disciplinary that we're now seeing is an issue of perhaps intimidation to tell party members, hey, toe the line or we remove you? Is there democracy in that?
Now, that is now the problem with our democracy, because it is selective. Democracy should be majority to have their way, the minority to have their say. You should be in a party where, if there is a decision to be made, if the majority feel, for example, I'll give an example with this issue of broad-based and ODM. If the majority feel you need to be in broad-based, you be. But if there are few, like Sifuna, who feels like I'm an ODM member, and we are not supposed to be broad-based, you should listen to them without feeling threatened. Now, the problem we have here, because of wanting to become like the West, but we are so traditional here in Africa, is that we want now to punish Sifuna as a person, because you are saying, I will not elect Ruto in 2027. It is his right, because the majority should have their way. That is democracy anyway. Now, when you talk about Kibagendi and Kareb and all those members, my feeling is that most likely, they'll be shown the door. Now, because the people in the party, they're already threatened that these people, like now Harwale has worked so much for this party. He's the one single-handedly who actually promoted UDA in Kakamega, a place where nobody knew UDA. And he won a seat on Senate, meaning he traversed all the wards, all the sub-counties. Then you come remove him simply because he feels, I need to go with what my people are saying. Harwale is a seasoned politician. So by going to that side, he has a point, because he feels that's where my people are. But now, the question you're asking, unfortunately, these people, most likely, they are going to be shown the door once they say no to whatever the people are saying. But let me say very quick things there. One, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua didn't say about a particular community having seats in Nairobi. He said DCP. And standing next to him was a gentleman who is from a Maasai community in Narok, who got a ticket of DCP. We have somebody who won a seat in Hisa. He's not a Kikuyu. He was a gentleman from the Western community. So he spoke about, and that's why when our party leaders talk, that's why we come here, to come and clarify to people like, Bosco and Doctor, what he meant. Because he spoke about DCP. He never said as a particular community. Number two, when he spoke about the issues with Wiper, that's where Wiper, he just said, excuse me guys, why are you complaining? I'm not complaining. Because it is too early to make such decisions. A statement can be made today here, tomorrow other things happen, and they are going to talk. Please, people who are in broad-based and all these kind of things should not begin putting their noses in what the United Opposition is doing. But number two, is good to clarify on this national television. Please, I've heard Bosco say that whatever happened in the by-elections will happen in 2027. It's too worrying. Why? If he is saying that we are going to experience the same violence, okay? Tomorrow people are going, Harore was saying in Buge today, they are going for burials this weekend for people who died in Chwere and Marava. Are we saying that because we're in government, you're going to kill people so you can get power? Let me ask you, if you are so powerful, why don't you go look for votes nicely, you'll be elected? Or if you're so powerful and if you're so popular, why go kill people, literally? Let me tell you what happened, for record. In Chwere, I was called on Wednesday night. The forces associated with a very powerful politician in this country literally went looking for agents of the guy who finally won, one by one, in their houses, torching them out because he had given the list of the agents. They were looked for, beaten. That was Wednesday night. I got the reports. Look at what I meant to Seth Panyako. Look at what the kind of damage just to scare him away. Now, are we saying, when we say that this is what will happen, are you saying that's what we should expect going forward? The issue of theft and all these kind of things, I disagree. But I'll tell you this in short. Violence begets violence. But we have told our people, let's not be provoked. We don't have guns, we don't have tear gas, we don't have those kind of things. We are going to play this nicely and make sure that whatever happens, happens. But I will end up with saying this because it's important. We condemn. If you are so popular, by-elections have gone, you have tamed the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua because you have defeated him in Bere. You have defeated United Opposition in Marava. Why go chase the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua in church? Why go chase him in church if you think it is because the president fears one thing called one term and Kasongo must go? That is the fear inside. And the bravado is there, but they are fearing the same thing.
I'm afraid we've come to the close of the discussion, but I'll give you all 30 seconds strictly to just give me your final remarks about the fallouts, the fallbacks, the realignments we are seeing now. What are your final thoughts about today's discussion? I'll begin with you, Bosco.
He chose to listen to what he wanted to listen, but I was very candid. I never said about violence. Actually, I said violence should be condemned from both sides, just for clarity. But away from that, moving into the future, I think we should be concerned. The things I was talking about are about IEBC should be more prepared and well organized to avert violences. NCIC, DPP should arrest speeches of violence, the drums of violence from when they are spoken before even we get to the ballot. When we talk about voter apathy in this country and how it has happened during these by-elections, we should run away from that. And I want to persuade the United Opposition to focus on bringing the voter registration of the young people together. That's the only way they can topple this government from the seat. So as I conclude, I want to say, moving into the future, let the young people come get their votes, and not only registering, they need to take that vote. Because Kenya is ruled by rule of law. Even if you don't like Mbaye, if he's a member of parliament, the only way to remove him is through the ballot.
Let's hear from you, Dr. Maxwell.
I think one thing that Kenyans really need to enjoy and be proud of is the fact that we do not have as yet one monolithic party. We had KANU and KANU collapsed. Now we have different political formations that are not as dominant as perhaps NRM in Uganda or CCM in Tanzania. That is why we have to enjoy our democracy. The fact that you can stand on any political party with any political ideology and win. Let us not capitalize. Let us capitalize on that. Let us not relapse into the culture of mayhem, hooliganism, and violence. It will kill our democracy.
Dr. Mbaye?
The people of Kenya are united. They know where they want to go. They are very resolute in their resolve to start together from all corners of this country under the United Opposition, because they are very sure that they don't have a presidential candidate, but they know who cannot be president anymore. I can tell you this, let us not misuse Singapore anymore. That's a beautiful country. We are dragging Singapore and Korea to our mud here. Singapore was about issue of meritocracy, pragmatism, and honesty. We are doing the opposite. Please let us not continue misusing Singapore names here. We are doing it a very big disservice.
Well, Dr. Peter Mbaye, to my right, very near, close to where I'm seated, that he's a leadership and governance expert and also a DCP party economic advisor. And of course, in the middle there, Dr. Maxwell Miyawa, who is a scholar and constitutional lawyer, and of course also Bosco Kuria, who is a political analyst. Gentlemen, Bosco, I know you have a lot to say. Oh, sorry, Bosco Kuria, who is a political analyst. I know you have a lot to say about today's discussion. I'm happy to call you in again. There's a lot that's happening in the political landscape of the country, and I'm happy you were able to give your views today. Thank you for coming on the show. And that has been a discussion, of course, on the fallouts and fallbacks that are happening right now in the political landscape in Kenya currently. Thank you for watching. My name is Leangare. Stay tuned and enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good night.